For this video, I went out and bought some random foods that happened to be on the 100 First Foods list. Now, these are surprise foods. I do not know which foods they bought. I'm just gonna go through the surprise grocery bag and give you guys my gut reaction on how I would prepare these foods for baby-led weaning for a baby who's starting solid foods. Alrighty, here's the bag of foods. Not sure what's in here. All right, I'm gonna start out first. Here's a good one. Cantaloupe. This is one of my favorite first fruits. First of all, do not be scared to offer your baby fruits. Sometimes parents are like, if I give my baby fruit, then they're never gonna eat vegetables. That's not true. Just try to do as many vegetable exposures as you do fruit. We actually did a baby with cantaloupe as their first food recently, and it's super easy. So you gotta cut it open to get inside here. With your cantaloupe, make sure you wash it, okay? Melons can harbor potentially harmful pathogens. So rinse the cantaloupe or a melon underneath the faucet. You wanna just use your hands. Water friction is enough to get the bad stuff off, because if you have the pathogens and you cut through it, you could potentially be bringing those bad guys through to the flesh of the fruit. Scoop the seeds out, cut it into sticks about the size of my adult pinky finger. You want it nice and soft to offer to the baby. If it's not, just poach the little cantaloupe sticks. Cover it with water, cook it for about 5 minutes until it's fork tender. This is a great first food. I love it because it's bright and beautiful in color, and babies love different colored foods. So there's a good first food, cantaloupe. All right, what else is in here? Oh, Lauren's favorite, almonds, roasted and unsalted. So this is key. We're gonna look for 0 milligrams of sodium. We're always looking for 0 grams of added sugar and 0 milligrams of sodium. So the first thing about the almonds is, like, I don't think they taste as good, but we don't want the added salt for the baby. Now, can you just feed your baby these actual almonds? No, because we don't feed intact nuts or thick globs of nut butter to baby. So what would I do with these almonds? A couple of different things. You can process them really fine in your food processor and make like a fine meal out of almond. You could buy almond flour, which would have been easier. But I also know that Lauren has this machine where you pour the almonds into it and it makes basically like this beautiful almond milk. You could do that out of an open cup for your baby. I don't generally buy commercial almond milk for babies because all of the protein has been removed, and the protein is the part we want to offer to the baby. So you could even keep going in your food processor and make it a nut butter, but don't offer the thick globs of nut butter. Thin the nut butter out with some breast milk or some formula or some unsweetened applesauce so it's nice and smooth and drops off your spoon, and that way you can offer almonds. This is a tree nut, so it's one of the allergenic foods. Good choice. All right, what else is in here? Fennel seed, kind of random. That's not on the 100 First Foods list. Did you mean to put this in here?
I wanted some sort of interesting spice.
All right, some sort of an interesting spice. The point here is, as long as your seasoning doesn't have any added salt in it, and it's not like super duper spicy where it would be injurious to baby, you could definitely do this. So fennel seed, I tend to grind up fennel seed like in a mortar and pestle, just so there's not like the actual little seeds that the baby could choke on. So make it a powder and use it to season if you're making Indian food or you're seasoning your roasted vegetables. Don't be shy about seasoning your baby's food. And sometimes people are like, well, do you count each individual spice on the 100 First Foods list? I don't. Could you? Yes. You know, babies for the most part are not going to be allergic to spices. There's some health benefits from different spices, but for the fennel seed, I would grind it up before I serve it to the baby. There's no added salt here, which is great, and I wouldn't add more salt. Use it to season the meats or the vegetables that I'm making for baby-led weaning. All right, next up we got roasted red peppers. I love roasted red peppers. First of all, no hard or crunchy, crispy red bell peppers for babies, okay? No raw, hard foods. Those can be a choking hazard. Yeah, you can roast your own red bell peppers, but then you gotta like peel the peels off, and it's so time consuming. You can buy convenience foods, just check that they don't have any added sodium. So this one is awesome because there's 10 servings in here. A serving is a half of a pepper. Your baby's not gonna eat a half a pepper, but a half of a pepper only has 100 milligrams of sodium. My general rule of thumb for packaged foods is 100 milligrams of sodium or less. So this works perfectly. These are nice and soft. I would cut them into strips about the size of my adult pinky finger or offer it to the baby. You could also make a really cool romesco sauce out of this, which we'll be doing a video to show you how to make that. So make sure you subscribe so you can get the recipe videos as well. But this is a great way to do a high vitamin C food. Like bell peppers have like more vitamin C than a lot of citrus fruits. And vitamin C is good because it helps your baby absorb the iron from the other foods you're offering. All right, here's another fruit. These are organic whole strawberries, and they're frozen. You do not have to buy organic foods for your baby. If you want to because you like the way they taste, that's fine, but they're no more quote unquote nutritious than conventional. So it's not like there's more vitamin C in organic frozen strawberries than in regular. Now, why would you buy organic? Well, I live in California where strawberries are available most of the year. They're best in the summer. Okay, but if you don't have access to a certain type of produce year round, buy the frozen version of it. Just checked the nutrition facts panel. 0 grams of added sugar. That's what we want. Sometimes frozen fruits, when you buy them, they're like these smoothie packs where they add sugars to them. Stay away from that for your baby. But these work great because if you defrost them, they get nice and soft, which you can cut into strips and offer to your baby. I also like to put frozen berries that kind of act as ice cubes if you're making a smoothie, and then you can have your baby practice drinking that smoothie out of the open cup. Put some other ingredients in there if you want, but I love frozen fruit, especially because it tends to be pretty affordable as well. You just need the freezer space to keep it. All right, next up, they got some white wine vinegar. All right, vinegar, so parents freak out when they see us cooking with vinegar for babies. Why? As long as it's unseasoned, unsalted vinegar, it's a great flavor experience for your baby. I'm like, well, what about white wine? Perfectly fine to cook with, no added salt in this. I love to pickle, for example, cucumbers. So if you do strips of cucumbers and you have an unseasoned, so no salted vinegar, just gotta read the label, 0 milligrams of sodium, 0 grams of added sugar. It can help soften the cucumbers and it adds kind of this tangy flavor that your baby will love to try. All right, 2 more things in the bag. A rotisserie chicken. Okay, so I happen to know that Lauren went to Whole Foods. Rotisserie chickens, for the most part, I do not love for baby-led weaning. A couple of reasons why. The primary one being that they inject the heck out of them with salt, right? Like, why does the chicken breast of a rotisserie chicken taste so good? Because it's full of salt, and we don't want added salt for babies. At Whole Foods, though, you can usually find a naked chicken. So that's a rotisserie chicken that they made that doesn't have added salt in it. However, this is not that. This has in a 3-ounce portion. So 3 ounces is about the size of the palm of your hand. Your baby might eat about 1 ounce, but 3 ounces has 980 milligrams of sodium in it. So 1 ounce would have more than 300. I would not feel comfortable offering this to my baby. So I'm not dissing your choice, Lauren. I'm just saying if you're there at Whole Foods, especially earlier in the day, is when you usually can get that naked chicken. Making your own whole chicken, though, is probably the easiest thing in the world. You take the chicken, you take 1 cup of water, put it in your Instant Pot, okay? And you blast it for like 15 minutes, or you can slow cook it, or you can oven roast it. But we do kind of steer clear of this because of the high amount of salt in it for babies. All right, what do we have here? This is plain unsweetened almond milk yogurt. Very interesting. Okay, sometimes families will say, my baby doesn't or can't have regular yogurt because there's usually 2 reasons. They're either allergic to cow's milk protein or the family is vegan and doesn't eat animal food. But we still want your baby to have practice with textures like yogurt. Purees are an important texture for your baby to master, just not the only texture they can have. So I would do this almond milk yogurt because it's unsweetened, okay? And that's what's important, no added sugar. Added sugars line, it says 0 grams. That's awesome. The only ingredients in here are almond milk, okay, with some starch and a little bit of fiber. There's some xanthan gum. I mean, these are just things that are kind of thickening it, but I like this for the texture opportunity, and it's a way to introduce your baby to that potentially allergenic food, tree nut, because you're offering the almonds. It's the almond milk yogurt. The key here is it's unsweetened. Don't be fooled by vanilla. Vanilla does not mean plain. Vanilla means sugar. Okay, so you gotta go for the plain one. This is a great one and a good way to do that potentially allergenic food, almond or tree nut. All right, so that was fun. Surprise bag of groceries. For real, you guys, you can make almost any food safe for baby-led weaning. I love that we got a variety of foods here. Some fruits, some vegetables. We got some seasoning ideas. We got some of the allergenic foods in. I've got a 100 first foods list that has 100 different foods your baby can safely eat. We pick 5 of them each week, 1 from each of the food categories. I teach you all about this on my free online 1-hour workshop called Baby-Led Weaning for Beginners. If you head to babyledweaning.co, you can sign up and grab your copy of my original 100 first foods list. And on that training, I give you like a lot more tips on how to make these different foods safe for baby-led weaning. But don't be shy about trying new foods for your baby.